Hey Eric, did you know there have been complaints that these opening sketches take too long?
No, I didn't know that.
Once upon a time, specifically the year 1711, on a foggy night, a small group of alchemists gathered aboard the good ship the Advena Avis to achieve their shared dream of unlocking the secret to eternal life. The leader of the alchemists, Maisa Avaro, decided that the only sure way to achieve immortality was to summon a demon and ask it to help them, as demons were known to do. Maisa's ritual was successful. A demon appeared, as much as a shadow and a disembodied voice can count as appearing. The demon gives Maisa an elixir, the formula to make more, and explains that anyone who drinks it will gain what TV Tropes calls resurrective immortality, where the body can be injured but will quickly repair itself. The drinker is also permanently frozen at the age they drink.
There are a few other rules, like being able to pass knowledge and experience to other immortals through touching right hands' foreheads. The inability to use fake names around other immortals, and as a bonus, the immortals can kill each other. All they have to do is press their right hand against another immortal's foreheads like they would do if they were going to share knowledge, but think about eating instead, and they'll absorb the other immortals' bodies and all their memories and skills. And the best part is, since any immortal can eat any other immortal, it acts as a deterrent to the immortals trying to destroy each other.
That sounds more like it was trying to set these people against each other.
What? A kindly demon like that? Just listen to that gentle laugh.
The majority of the crew drinks the demon's elixir and begin their journey home. However, on the way, the new immortals take a vote on whether or not they should share the formula with the rest of the world. Ever since Maisa got the recipe and drank, he's been having second thoughts about bargaining with an unseen terror from the bowels of hell. So he and the crew decide to keep the secret of immortality safe with them. This doesn't sit well with Zillard Quates, the oldest member of the group and once Maisa's biggest skeptic. Zillard was the first to drink the demon's elixir, and having what he once thought possible thrown back at him, he develops an obsession with knowing everything in the world. This obsession causes him to begin devouring the other immortal passengers, including Maisa's brother, whom he had secretly shared half of the formula with.
This actually helps Maisa in a way, since he'd been conflicted about possibly needing to absorb Zillard, but now that Zillard's proven that he can't be trusted, it's open season on the crazy old fart. The crew chase him to the main deck of the ship, but he gets cut in half while trying to attack Maisa and falls into the sea. They probably could have found him, but they had to save the Irish guy, because he had to be the center of attention. Everybody knows Zillard isn't really dead, but when will he return to finish off Maisa and the others? Zillard returns to finish off Maisa and the others when he pops up in 1930s New York. Turns out he spent the past 219 years using half the formula he absorbed from Maisa's brother to try to recreate the elixir and sell it to the old money white people. And to assist him, he's created Ennis, a homunculus, or artificial human, created through alchemy rather than the traditional method.
Another henchman for Zillard, known as Barnes, tries to run the completed formula over to his boss, but a fire started by two idiots burns down nearly his entire stock. But Barnes is able to rescue 2 bottles of elixir. On her way to retrieve Barnes, Zillard's homunculus, Ennis, sees the fire and begins searching for him. She bumps into a mafioso named Firo. Firo is best described by the other characters in the show as main character-ish, which is another way of saying he's as bland as white rice with weak tea. So much so that all it takes for him to start following Ennis with his penis is returning a button she dropped at the fire while looking for Barnes. Now because Barnes is just having the worst day, he runs into Dallas Genoward, a nobody thug who happened to be in the mood to kick old men. Firo steps in and saves the day, but Barnes shoos him so that he doesn't get the bottles of elixir. He'll wish he hadn't, because Dallas recovers, kills Barnes, and steals his box without even knowing what's inside of it as soon as Firo leaves.
Ennis finally finds Barnes' body, just in time to see him coming back to life. Meaning not only did he sample the formula while he was working on it, but he lost the box containing the only elixir left after he lost the rest in a fire. Ennis brings Barnes to Zillard for a quick meal, and then Zillard sends Ennis out to get Dallas and his... What do you call an Italian entourage?
A cortege! I'm walking here!
No, No, that's not it. Oh well.
Am I not funny?
Dallas and his best friends forever club take out their frustration by beating up fan favorite outlaw couple Isaac and Miria. Ennis unintentionally saves them by taking Dallas's crew apart, and afterwards Isaac and Miria infect her with their thanks and optimism and telling her how a great person she is, and she starts catching emotions. Not enough to not kidnap people and bring them back to the crazy old man who eats people, but there's something there. Zillard has Ennis inject the Dallas Buyers Club with an incomplete version of the formula. Same basic rules, they won't die, but they will age.
Zillard sends a newly immortal Dallas out to retrieve the complete formula from the mafia family he left it with, but has it stolen by Isaac and Miria, who, believing it to be just plain liquor, bring it to a speakeasy owned by the Martillo Mafia family, who just happen to have a bookkeeper named Miza Avaro, who's been acting as a mentor to Firo. While Isaac and Miria are serving immortal juice to gangsters, Firo and Ennis are being attracted to each other on very basic levels. Zillard, after more than 200 years, confronts Miza for their final showdown. Firo tries to intervene, but Ennis stops him and tells him about Miza and Zillard's immortality and how, as Zillard's creation, she can be destroyed at his will. As the fight spills out onto the street, Isaac and Miria try to hit Zillard with a car, so he commands Ennis to kill them while bragging about how she doesn't have feelings and only obeys him.
Little does he know she has feelings and she doesn't obey him. Haha! Ennis stabs Zillard for what good it'll do. Not any, because he can't die. But she can. Zillard shuts her down quick with some kind of mental kill switch, and the distraction gives Firo and his gang enough time to set Zillard on fire and then eat him. He uses Zillard's knowledge to save Ennis, and even though Miza's looking on in horror at an immortal mafia terrorizing the city for all of time, everyone decides it's a good thing, probably because they're the mafia. One year after an entire mafia became immortal, a brand new transcontinental train was set up to depart from Chicago to New York. Turns out rich people love the train, riding it and not thinking about the poor. They have such a good time. All these rich people make the train a target for Chicago Mafia, a cult, perennial favorites Isaac and Miria, an immortal Damien from the Omen type child named Cheslaw, an information broker, a bootlegger, and a partridge in a pear tree. Dun, dun.
Things start out calmly enough. Isaac and Miria meet the bootlegger and his girlfriend niece. What's the bootlegger's name? Jacuzzi Splot. His first name is a last name, and his last name isn't even a word. Isaac and Miria tell Jacuzzi and niece an urban legend about a creature called the Rail Tracer that eats the passengers and then the train itself. It's not true, but it's important later. The cult of people in black suits set their plan in motion first to hold a senator's wife and child hostage for the release of their leader from Alcatraz. At the same time, the Chicago-based Russo Mafia in white suits sends one of their men to stick up the train because their best hitman really wants to. And at the same time as that, a member of Jacuzzi's gang tries to stick up the train because he thought niece told him to.
The black suits have an early lead, but the white suits, Lad Russo, quickly turns the odds in their favor and declares his intention to kill every single cult member. Meanwhile, Jacuzzi finds a bunch of dead bodies and makes it his mission to save the passengers from the black and white suits with nothing but a can-do attitude, this big guy, and his girlfriend who gets off on explosions. Surprisingly, even though Lad and Jacuzzi are after these guys, they begin disappearing before either of the enemies can make a move. Could it be the legendary Rail Tracer? Kind of.
The young conductor fends off an attack from an older conductor who was in league with the cult. But this is no ordinary young conductor with perfectly tousled hair and beautiful brown eyes. He is a legendary hitman known as Claire Stanfield, aka Vino. The conductor job is just a cover that allows him to kill his targets and leave quickly. His unsolved killings became so prolific that they are where the Rail Tracer rumor came from. After finding the other conductor with him was a member of the white suits in disguise and killed his mentor for a uniform, Vino sands off the top half of his body by holding him against the train tracks, covers himself in blood, and decides to become the Rail Tracer and defend his train.
If you recall, we'll forgive you if you don't, a lot happens in this show. There's an immortal besides Isaac and Miria on the train. a little boy named Czeslaw Mayer. He might look so cute in his whittle hat, but he boarded the train intending to devour Mizo once he gets to New York. But Czeslaw knows other immortals are on the train because he couldn't use a fake name. So he wants to kill all the passengers and then devour anyone who comes back to life. At this point, it sort of begs the question, did anyone on the train just have somewhere to be? Is anyone just a passenger? Is everyone secretly an immortal or an assassin? Is this guy? Is she? Oh, that guy's dead.
Czeslaw attempts to bribe Lad Russo to kill all of the passengers for him after seeing what he did to the black suits, but despite that being something he was likely to do eventually, Lad politely declines the offer.
You're just so sure I'm not gonna do this.
Claire Stanfield sees Czeslaw return to life and confronts him about what he asked Lad to do. Czeslaw justifies his actions with his backstory as a child who was tortured but unable to die. Claire then shows the boy the error of his ways by quartering him and tying him to the bottom of the train. He heads up onto the roof to face Lad while Jacuzzi and friends head to the roof to face the black suits. Hey, could you show Nice getting on the roof again? Thank you. Oh yeah, Jacuzzi overcomes his shy, crying nature to win the day. Hoorays were had by all.
Back to Lad Russo. A mute woman with the black suits named Chane Laforet tries to kill him because her father is the leader, but is interrupted by Claire to show her how a man kills another man. They butt heads about ideologies, and Claire tells Lad why being merciful and compassionate like him makes him the better man.
Mercy and compassion are virtues that only the strong are privileged to possess. And I am strong.
The only problem is Claire doesn't seem to understand how mercy or compassion works. He further demonstrates this by getting Lad to throw himself off the train by threatening the life of his fiancée. You know, the merciful and compassionate thing to do. He then immediately proposes to Shanae, and she accepts. Hooray! Isaac and Miria rescue Czeslaw and give him to Ennis as a brother gift, which they are in no position to do legal or just don't take public transportation. That's the moral. There you go.
Hey, remember Dallas from the first bit? He's missing! His sister looks for him a bunch. They find him in the river because no one else liked him. They put him there in the cement. When I watched Baccano again on DVD, I fast-forwarded through these parts.
Look, there are about like 20 characters that get to be the main focus at one point in this series. Can't we just agree that most of them are really good? Cool. Verdicts? I'll start by saying that I love Baccano. The characters are super fun to watch as they tell their individual stories, and even though there's about 20 of them, they all have a unique feel. The animation is fluid and is accompanied by a fun, jazzy music that just keeps my eyes and ears glued to the anime at all times. The only complaint I have about Baccano is the way that they jump between stories and timelines can make it really hard to follow at times and messes with the flow of the other stories. If you're not paying attention at all times, the only thing you'd come away with from Baccano is the main theme, which is, the moral of the story is that stories are stories. In the long run, though, that complaint is a drop in the bucket compared to how much praise I can give the show and its characters. Each episode is filled with something to be enjoyed, whether it's the raving madman reasoning of Lad Russo or Vino, or their gruesome cultural murders. It's good. Go watch it now. Like, honestly, why are you wasting your time watching this? Go, watch, now!
Baccano is a personal favorite, so with as much bias as can be set aside, it is without question one of the strongest offerings anime has to offer. Depression-era America is nothing new in terms of a setting, but never have the characters inhabiting it been so unique and enjoyable. Baccano does a bold and spectacular job of intertwining its stories and telling them out of order, while keeping everything cohesive. Now, this isn't to say Baccano is perfect. Having characters cross over into different years and arcs is a fun way to keep them in the story. But putting those characters in danger when they've already been shown alive sometime later breaks the tension of their situations. And as exciting as some stories and characters are, there are a few weak links that fail to captivate attention as well as others. Yves Genoard's story being a noticeable outlier when compared to the train robbery and immortal gangsters. These faults do not detract significantly from Baccano's entertainment value, mind. It still stands head and shoulders above its peers as a unique and well-crafted work of merit.
Phew. Haven't done a two-parter in a while. Good show, though.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
But you're never glad when people enjoy things.
I just hope you're ready, Eric. Because if you thought this was the end of us doing shows about the crazy things alchemists can do, we're just getting started. Gonna leave that in. Just gonna go ahead and leave all that in. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Oh, my mercy!